Hey everyone, welcome back to the Tailored Metaphor, where I use my imagination to explain your mental health. And today we're going to cover a really famous topic, a topic that everybody loves talking about, and that's failure. Now, I'm sure you've heard so many times that you need to accept that failure is a part of life, or that you're not actually a failure, or that you can learn something from failure. And that's all true. But let's have a little more fun with it, okay? I talk about failure so often with my clients because a lot of my clients are perfectionists. A lot of my clients hold themselves to a really high standard, so they're really hard on themselves at the same time and feel like they've failed if they don't reach a certain goal or they don't reach a certain goal fast enough by their own standards. But what's worse is that there's disappointment involved in that, and there's sadness or stress or anger involved. But a lot of times we sugar over the fact that failure is not actually a bad thing. We sugar over the fact that people define failure as a really negative, harmful, painful, shitty thing, but that's their definition. We just made up that meaning, that emotional weight to it, when really failure is just when something doesn't happen. When something doesn't happen that maybe you were hoping for or expecting it to, or whatever it may be. And so you actually have the power and the choice to think of failure as something more positive. The word failure just has such an onus to it that you can think of it as something more beneficial if you want to. Now, the metaphor I like to use to illustrate the process of accepting failure in your life and being okay with failure as a part of life is that of baking a cake. Now, let's be honest, even if you've never baked a cake before, you know and you understand from any baking show you've ever watched or anything, you can just visualize what a mess it is to make a cake. All of the ingredients in really particular measurements and amounts need to be put in this perfect way to make this perfect end result. But keep in mind that flour always gets spilt. Sugar always gets measured wrong. Something is off or something is different than what the recipe says. And so when you're trying to do something in your life and you're trying to do it perfectly, you're trying to make sure all the ingredients and measurements for whatever it is in your life are so perfect, and all of a sudden some things spill off to the side, or it doesn't go as smoothly as you thought it would, or doesn't come out tasting the way that you wanted it to, whatever your experience is, then you get really down on yourself. You get really bummed, really sad, because you're like so stuck to this idea of perfect measurements, perfect ingredients. This shows up a lot in people's careers, it shows up a lot in finances, it shows up a lot in body image and self-worth and comparing ourselves to other people and other people's lives. But if we just know that there will always be some flour that spills off to the side, or there will always be maybe just a little too much sugar in the cake, two outcomes happen. And neither of those outcomes is actually that bad. The first outcome is that you realize, oh shoot, I put too much sugar in. This one little thing, all right, I messed that up, but now I've learned for next time. You can either restart it right there if you want to. Nothing's stopping you from trying it again right then. Or, number two, you end up with cake. You end up with cake at the end. And even in the metaphor or outside of the metaphor, the cake symbolizes some kind of experience that you can actually see as enjoyable. Even if something went a little bit wrong, there might be some things that went right. And there might be a lot of things that went right, but the outcome might actually turn out differently and more positively than you thought it would. So many inventions, so many famous material items that we use on a daily basis were all invented by accident. Someone was trying to invent something else and they just kind of stumbled upon this creation, and it ended up being, $1 trillion teeny tiny widget or something that we use every day. So be mindful of the fact that not only will you learn what you did wrong and what you can do differently next time to make it even better, but there are so many possibilities and positive possibilities that may come from just trying the thing anyways, even if it doesn't work out anywhere close to how you imagined it. So try that out for yourself. Try those 2 little mindset switches the next time that you go after a goal at work, or you are trying something new for your health. You're trying to change a new habit or set a new goal. Try that out. Be a little less hard on yourself, but just try this experiment for a couple of weeks and see what difference it makes. Make sure to subscribe below, and I will talk to you all soon.